Nomad Art and Cultural Center started in 1984. Nomad initially, before we renamed it, was called Interiors. It was an organization I ran which was about interior and structural design in Pakistan, keeping in mind the indigenous materials and mediums and architecture and so forth. And we used to have a sort of backward integration, which meant we went into the villages, we went into towns, we went into far-flung areas and revived textiles and furniture and designs and style to make it very holistic as a program. Then we realized at a time that we were under a military regime, and this is, I'm talking about 79, 80 and those years. And because art was a very important focus of Interiors Gallery also, we decided then to move, focusing more on art as a tool. So art was challenging, art was a political intervention also, and it also gave an opportunity for a lot of young people, whether from communities or whether from universities, who had no voice. Basically through exhibitions, through workshops, through awareness. We used to also pay visits. We used to take college and school students to places, cultural places, for instance, Taxila, and also to combine and give a platform to people from all race, color, religion, creed. It didn't matter where they came from. So we also involved the international community in that. So I would say the state should be doing far more for culture, for art, for crafts and communities. We have a richness of culture, of tradition, the history and the beauty that you have in Pakistan. We have everything going for us. Basically, I think the people to a great extent have been let down also over the years in many areas. So if we were to tap the culture of all the areas a little more, और थोड़ा सा देखिए ना स्किल, थोड़ा सा ट्रेनिंग, थोड़ी opportunity. What about a very holistic program? A very holistic program where people can actually earn from what they are learning. So there's sometimes been a wide gap. There have been some training programs by government, they run certain schools and so forth, but no, it's not enough. They should definitely have this as a very strong policy. A cultural policy which has never seen the light of day. We hear about it a lot. We've interviewed people like you are talking to me. I've talked to people in government, very strong people who wanted to do a lot. But then there seem to be a lot of loopholes. There seem to be too many challenges because priorities vary so much. So I would not say they do not recognize art and culture, depending who's there. But it's also the kind of art. Any art that is an intervention or a threat is not recognized. Anything that is benign, calligraphy is a beautiful form of art in many ways, but you can't just focus on calligraphy, because that is acceptable. So the problem here is that there's too much judging and there's too much lack of opportunity, whether it's for artists or whether it's for centers. I think there should be land provided where they can help set up places. If I look at that from the point of view of a human rights defender and a person who is challenging mainstream issues, I think reclaiming our spaces has always been one step forward and one step back. In fact, 2 steps back. So the problem is that where are you looking for those progressive spaces? You've got to be able to have the space, then you have to cross patriarchy and gender, and then you have to make the effort, especially for a woman or a young woman who speaks out, for instance. We were talking about somebody earlier. They don't have a leg to stand on in this society. Not many artists get an opportunity to exhibit abroad, so they don't have that exposure. But then again, we have to bridge it with other tools that we have. And the tools that you have, one, you have innumerable channels. You have so many television channels in our country, it's unbelievable. Private hain, other channels. Now, it's not only a political tool, which it's used as also, but the important factor is to use it for your art and for your culture, and some are doing that. I personally, at the end of the day, think that media or film is the most important tool where you can get your message across. If we do not have this image to project Pakistan, in the right way. When I say the right way, in a cultural, in a holistic, in a very strong way, and where your women can be stronger, your youth can learn something, then we do need support of government. We do need support of governments to come up with policies, or if they are giving money to this country, our country, to improve and to develop, then it should be a part of the policy. Human rights, art and culture should be part of any policy.